The city was alive, pulsing with lights that mirrored the stars above. On a rooftop perched high above the chaotic streets of New York, Cassandra Kane prepared for the most dangerous heist of her career. Known to the world as the Catwoman, Cassandra was an expert thief, a master of stealth and precision. This night, however, would push her skills to the limit. She wasn't just stealing a priceless artifact. She was going up against a ruthless criminal syndicate, the Serpent Order. Her target, the Eye of Bastet, an ancient Egyptian amulet rumored to grant 9 lives to its owner. For months, whispers in the underworld spoke of its power and how the Serpent Order had managed to get their hands on it. If they completed their ritual with the amulet, they'd become immortal, unstoppable. It was up to Cassandra to make sure that never happened. Dressed in her skin-tight, jet-black suit, Cassandra stood on the ledge, her silhouette blending seamlessly with the night. The suit wasn't just for show. It was equipped with advanced tech, pressure-sensitive pads in her gloves for climbing, micro-lasers embedded in her fingertips, and retractable claws sharp enough to cut through steel. Her mask, with cat-like lenses, offered enhanced night vision and displayed real-time data about her surroundings. Every piece of equipment was carefully chosen, every detail meticulously planned. She took a deep breath, and then she moved. With a fluid grace that defied gravity, Cassandra leaped from the rooftop, her body twisting in midair. She landed silently on the balcony of the towering skyscraper that housed the Serpent Order's headquarters. Security drones buzzed in the air, their sensors sweeping the perimeter, but Cassandra moved with such precision that they never detected her presence. She hugged the shadows, her movements as smooth as water flowing around obstacles. Reaching the ventilation shaft, she carefully removed the grating, her nimble fingers working quickly. She slid inside, crawling through the narrow metal tunnel with barely a sound. Her breathing was steady, controlled, and her mind was focused. Each move was calculated, every action performed with surgical precision. As she reached a turn, a red laser beam cut across the shaft. She froze, her senses heightened, then slowly exhaled, pulling a tiny mirror from her utility belt. She angled the mirror to reflect the beam, then crawled beneath it with barely a millimeter to spare. Finally, she reached the heart of the building, the central vault. A massive steel door stood before her, protected by a complex digital lock and a series of pressure-sensitive tiles on the floor. One wrong step, and the alarms would sound, bringing armed guards down on her in seconds. Cassandra knelt, studying the tiles, her sharp eyes scanning the pattern. There was a rhythm to it, a subtle sequence only someone with her training could decipher. She took off her gloves, revealing delicate fingers scarred from years of work. The pressure pads on her suit adjusted, and she placed one foot down gently, distributing her weight evenly. One step, then another, moving with the grace of a ballet dancer. Sweat beaded on her forehead as she reached the final tile, pausing just before the door. The digital lock blinked with a countdown, 30 seconds to enter the code before the system reset. Cassandra's mind raced. She'd memorized every detail from blueprints and insider information. But the Serpent Order had changed the code that morning. She quickly connected a small device to the keypad, hacking into the system. Seconds ticked away as lines of code flashed across her HUD, heads-up display in her mask. With 5 seconds left, the device beeped and the door clicked open. Inside, the vault gleamed with treasures from across the world, but Cassandra's eyes were fixed on one object, the Eye of Bastet. It sat on a pedestal, bathed in a soft, eerie glow. As she approached, her steps slowed. The air felt heavy, as if the amulet was watching her. She extended her hand, her heart pounding, but just as her fingers brushed the surface, a soft chuckle echoed behind her. "Well, well, if it isn't the infamous Catwoman," came a deep voice. Cassandra spun around, claws unsheathed, to find Victor Blackwood, the leader of the Serpent Order, standing in the doorway. His eyes glittered with malice, a cruel smile playing on his lips. Around him, a dozen heavily armed guards stood ready, weapons aimed at Cassandra. "You've made it this far, but this is where your luck runs out," Victor sneered. Cassandra didn't flinch. "I've got 9 lives, Victor. How many do you have?" With lightning speed, she threw a smoke bomb at her feet, the room filling with thick, choking fog. In that split second, she moved, her body twisting and rolling as bullets ricocheted off the walls. Using her enhanced vision, she saw through the smoke, pouncing on the nearest guard with the ferocity of a wildcat. Her claws sliced through his weapon, and a quick strike to the jaw sent him crumpling to the floor. Victor's men fired wildly, but Cassandra moved like a shadow, dodging, weaving, striking with pinpoint accuracy. She leaped onto a marble column, using her claws to climb to the ceiling. With a flick of her wrist, she released a series of tiny, razor-sharp discs that embedded themselves in the guards' weapons, disabling them. One by one, they fell, groaning in pain or lying unconscious. Victor, now alone, backed away, fear flashing in his eyes. "You can't defeat me. The power of the Eye is mine." Cassandra dropped down silently behind him, her claws at his throat. "Wrong," she whispered. "The power belongs to those who protect, not those who seek to destroy." She grabbed the Eye of Bastet, and just as she turned to leave, Victor lunged at her, a knife in his hand. With a swift, fluid motion, Cassandra spun around, her arm striking out like a whip. The blade missed her by inches, and she delivered a roundhouse kick that sent Victor sprawling. With the amulet secured in her pouch, Cassandra sprinted through the vault, triggering an alarm that blared through the building. Red lights flashed, and the sound of heavy footsteps filled the corridors. But the Catwoman was faster. She sprinted down the hallway, her heart pounding, adrenaline surging through her veins. Reaching the window, she leaped without hesitation, the glass shattering around her as she fell. She activated the grappling hook on her belt, the cable snapping taut and swinging her to safety. She landed gracefully on a nearby rooftop, pausing for just a moment to catch her breath. The sirens faded into the night as Cassandra looked down at the Eye of Bastet. It glowed faintly, as if acknowledging her victory. "1 life down," she muttered to herself, 8 to go. With a final, satisfied smirk, she disappeared into the darkness, her silhouette merging with the shadows as the city continued to pulse with life. The eye of Bastet was safe, and for now the Catwoman had won. But she knew this was just the beginning. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and share for more interesting stories.